I switched our DNA test results as a prank and discovered my fiancé is my half-brother. Let me explain how I found out the man I was about to marry shares my father. Jake and I had been together for 3 years. He proposed last Christmas with this gorgeous vintage ring that belonged to his grandmother. We were planning our dream wedding for next spring. Everything felt perfect. Too perfect, maybe. We'd always joked about how similar we were. Same weird sense of humor. Same taste in music. We both hated cilantro and loved pineapple on pizza. Our friends called us twins sometimes. I thought it was cute that we were so compatible. Last month, Jake got really into genealogy. He kept talking about tracing his family tree, finding out his heritage percentages. His parents were both adopted, so he didn't know much about his background. He ordered 2 DNA kits from Ancestry DNA, one for him, one for me. "Come on, babe," he said, waving the boxes. "It'll be fun. We can see where our families came from. Maybe we're both Irish or something." I wasn't that interested, honestly. I knew my dad's side was mostly German, mom's side Italian. But Jake was so excited, I went along with it. The kits sat on our kitchen counter for weeks. Jake kept reminding me to do mine. Finally, last Tuesday, we both spit in our tubes and sealed them up. Jake labeled them carefully with our names and addresses. Here's where I made the stupidest decision of my life. Jake had to leave for work early that morning. The DNA kits were sitting by the door, ready to mail. I looked at them and got this ridiculous idea for a prank. What if I switched our labels? Jake would get my results, I'd get his. It would be hilarious when we opened them together. I carefully peeled off the labels and swapped them. Jake's tube now had my name, mine had his. I was giggling like an idiot, imagining his face when he saw Italian/German instead of whatever he was expecting. Such a harmless little joke, right? Wrong. The results came back 6 weeks later. We decided to open them together over dinner, make it a whole event. Jake ordered Thai food, opened a bottle of wine. We were both giddy with anticipation. "You first," he said, sliding my envelope across the table. I opened it, expecting to see Jake's ancestry breakdown. Instead, I saw something that made my blood turn to ice. Under close DNA matches, there was a name I recognized immediately, Jacob William Morrison. My fiancé's full name. It said we shared 25% of our DNA. The relationship estimate was half-sibling. My hand started shaking. The wine glass slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. "Babe, what's wrong?" Jake reached for me. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. I stared at that screen until the words burned into my brain. Half-sibling. 25% shared DNA. Close family match. Let me see. Jake grabbed the paper from my trembling hands. His face went white. Then confused. Then horrified. This has to be a mistake," he whispered. "These are your results, not mine. Why does it say Jacob Morrison?" That's when I had to confess about the switch. I swapped our labels, I choked out. As a prank. "These are actually your results, which means..." Jake dropped the paper like it was on fire. "Which means we're related," he finished. The room started spinning. 3 years together. 3 years of loving this man. 3 years of planning our future. And he was my brother. My half-brother. We sat there in stunned silence while Thai food got cold and wine soaked into the carpet. Neither of us knew what to say. What do you say when your entire relationship just imploded? "How is this possible?" Jake finally asked. I forced myself to think logically. My dad left when I was 2. Mom always said he had commitment issues, moved around a lot. I barely remembered him. Jake's biological father was a mystery, his adoptive parents never told him anything about the man who got his birth mother pregnant. The pieces started clicking into place. The similarities. The instant connection. The way we just understood each other. We'd been drawn to each other because we literally shared DNA. I ran to the bathroom and threw up everything I'd eaten that day. When I came back, Jake was pacing the living room like a caged animal. "We have to call off the wedding," he said without looking at me. "I know. We have to tell people something." "I know. But we can't tell them the truth." I nodded. "How do you explain this to your friends and family?" "Sorry, the wedding's off because we discovered we're siblings?" It sounded like a bad soap opera plot. The next few weeks were hell. We told everyone we'd grown apart, realized we weren't compatible long-term. People were shocked but supportive. My mom kept asking if there was another woman. Jake's parents wondered if I'd been cheating. Nobody suspected the real reason. Jake moved out the following weekend. We couldn't even look at each other without feeling sick. Every memory felt tainted. Every kiss, every intimate moment, it all felt wrong now. But here's the thing that really ate at me, my father. This man had abandoned me as a toddler, then somehow managed to father another child, Jake, around the same time. Jake was only 6 months younger than me. Which meant dear old dad was juggling 2 women simultaneously, got them both pregnant, then disappeared from both our lives. I spent weeks researching, tracking down information. Found out my father's name was William Morrison, that's where Jake got his middle name. The man had left a trail of broken families across 3 states. Jake and I weren't his only children. We had at least 2 other half-siblings. That's when I decided I was done being a victim of this man's selfishness. I hired a private investigator. Found out William Morrison was living in Phoenix, running a small construction company. Married to his 4th wife. Playing the role of devoted husband and father to her 2 kids. I drove to Phoenix with a folder full of evidence. DNA results. Birth certificates. Photos of all his abandoned children. I walked into his office on a Tuesday afternoon and placed that folder on his desk. "Hi, Dad," I said. "I'm Sarah. Your daughter. The one you left 26 years ago." The color drained from his face. "I know about Jake too," I continued. "And Emma in Denver. And Marcus in Portland. Funny how you keep starting families and then disappearing." He tried to stammer excuses, but I cut him off. "Your current wife doesn't know about any of us, does she?" That evening, I had dinner with William's wife and stepchildren. I showed them everything. Explained how their loving husband and father had a pattern of abandoning his biological children. She filed for divorce the next week. Sometimes the best revenge is simply telling the truth. Jake and I don't speak anymore. We can't. But we both got therapy, and we're both healing. I'm actually grateful we found out before the wedding, before we potentially had children together. My father finally faced consequences for his actions. His construction business failed when word spread about his character. He's alone now, exactly like he left all of us. Have you experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments.